Okay. I declare the meeting open at 5:02 p.m. I guess before I open the meeting proper, I'd like to welcome the students from Westbury Primary School. So welcome. Hope you enjoy the evening. So ordinary meeting, opening of meeting apologies. We have no apologies received for this meeting. Acknowledgement of country. I begin today by acknowledging, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Acknowledging the Palatur and Panahia past peoples, the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we gather today, and I pay my respects to elders past and present. I extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. Moving on to confirmation of minutes, which is page 7. Council receives and confirms the minutes of the last ordinary meeting. Somebody like to meet, somebody like to second. Councillor House, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Loader, thank you. Any discussion, councillors, on the minutes? Take that as no. Put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Raise your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you. Declaration of interest from councillors. General Manager.
Yes, Mayor, we have one declaration of interest from yourself or an item closed.
Thank you. So move on to council workshop report is on page 8. Council's asked me for a workshop on the 26th of May. It is there. What the topics were. We then move on to Mayor and Councillor reports, and I'd like to start that off first off by passing on our condolences to Ron Morgan, who passed away, to the Morgan family. Ron was a member of the Tasmanian Mountain Cattlemen's Association. He also worked for a long time at Cameron's Hardware Store, which was the predecessor to Beck's Hardware Store. He was certainly a guiding light for a lot of younger people that have now turned into older people in the municipality. And he'll be sadly missed, and did a marvellous job. You would have probably seen Ron at Deloraine Show, Chudley Show, Agfest with his horse that did all sorts of amazing tricks. So condolences there. And also I just want to acknowledge the Light Up Meander fireworks, which was put on by the Meander Progress and the Meander Hall. 750 people in attendance. A really good night for fireworks. So those councillors that there, they'll appreciate it, and those others that turned up. It was really good. So I will hand over to other councillors if there's any other announcement, councillors. Councillor Loader.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Deloraine Fire Brigade's cocktails for a cause on Saturday evening, and I believe that and a number of other fundraising activities has raised nearly $10,000 for fighting MND. So congratulations to them, and thank you to the many volunteers who made that all happen.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other? Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. Yes, Company Council Loader and I were at the fireworks. I think you were too, Councillor. It was excellent, wasn't it? It's really good. So well done to the Meander crew. What was it? The MCG, Meander Cricket Ground. But I do just want to congratulate Penny Gardner. I didn't get to attend her biggest morning tea, which was held on Friday the 29th, but I have heard that there were about 300 people there, and Delorane's favourite girl, Kim Miller, was the MC. They had lots of raffle prizes, lucky door prizes, and managed to raise $7,335, which I think is a pretty extraordinary effort. But Penny's generosity doesn't end there. She's actually going with Debbie Willis to Bali next month. And so they're doing a call out for donations of personal items, pens, pencils, or cash if you can. But they're collecting those at Willis and Friends in Deloraine. So if anyone's able to support, I would encourage them to.
Thanks, Councillor. Any other announcements, councillors? I'll take that as no, thank you. Moving on to item 8, which is page 11. Petitions. There were no petitions received for this meeting. Are there any from the gallery? Take that as no. Community representations. No community representations were received for this meeting. Are there any from the gallery? Take that as no. We now move into public question time. So members of the public may ask questions in person or use the form available on the council's website. You're allowed to ask 2 questions with a time limit of 3 minutes. And Yeah. Yeah. So also, just make a note of, John, you read that, you just told me about it, you just read it.
Look, just noting that there were questions asked in advance of our meeting today, which have been answered in our agenda. We received two from the Westbury Primary School students relating to the Westbury Skate Park and dirt track adjoining the Westbury Sports Centre, and the interest in that, and our councillors will consider a notice of motion from Councillor Ben Dudman in our agenda today about that topic.
Yep, so I'll open up public question time. Are there any questions from the public, please? If there are, please come to the lectern, state your name, and you've got 3 minutes. At 2 minutes 30 seconds, I'll ding the bell, let you know you have 30 seconds to finish off.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and councillors. I'm here tonight as a grateful wife, mother, daughter, and grandmother, and mother, and a proud constituent and local business owner who cares deeply about the social fabric, family values, and economic future of the Meander Valley. The recent state announcement regarding the Ashley site has raised genuine concern about the long-term viability of our region. While the land is in state hands, history shows that when a council presents a strong, positive, alternative vision, state governments listen. Our community strategic plan commits council to advocating for a cohesive and empowered community. It is in that spirit that I ask the following two questions. 1, will council formally write to the state government to express that the proposed use of the Ashley site as a prison is inconsistent with the community vision outlined in our community strategic plan? 2, what steps is council taking to proactively explore and present alternative higher value community and economic development proposals for the Ashley site to the state government, ensuring the land is used to lift the local standard of living, create a diverse employment and foster a family-friendly environment instead of being repurposed as a prison farm or any other type of prison?
Thank you, Liz. So since the announcement that was made by the state was made on the morning of our last workshop from memory, we as council haven't met formally to consider anything that the state have put forward yet. Our next workshop will be in 2 weeks' time. It may be an agenda item there, but we're waiting for the state to actually give us some timelines and plans of what they're planning. So it's all very good for the state to come out and tell us what's forward. The state have done this for the last how many times to talk about actually. So we will talk about it as a council group going forward. That's the first question. What steps for higher value? I know in the last 5 years or 6 years since this has certainly been on the cards, there's been a lot of discussion in the community about how the site could be used for other purposes. At the end of the day, the state owned that, and I understand we've written letters asking the state what their plans are from it, and we haven't received a lot of correspondence back from the state on their plans.
And thank you for the response. I appreciate the council's position, given the level of concern.
Sorry,
Oh,
there was 2 questions you asked.
yeah,
This.
you only answered the first one.
No, I think I've answered both of them.
Yeah, I'm replying to your, I'll say thank
Sorry,
you.
no.
Oh,
You
okay.
can say thank you, but this is not a debate. It's a question asked and I reply. Sorry.
Okay, so we can come back with another question next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can. Thank you. Anybody else with questions?
I wish to hunt there in-house. I was wondering, we got given a question, what would you like in our community? We got put into groups and came up with ideas. With my group of my friends, Lily, Layla, we were thinking, and we remembered how a couple of years ago we had an old movie night. We were thinking also just with other communities that have movie nights. We were thinking, and I would ask you if we could maybe have one in Westbury at the cricket ground. We think this could be great for our community, connecting everyone with one big social day with a big movie night. This can bring our community together and help us all connect.
Thank you for your question. That's well done and thank you. A formal approach to council would probably be the right way to go, and maybe through the school, through your teacher, you send an email to council with your thoughts and we can formally respond. So thank you for your question. I can't say yes, I can't say no, I'm sorry. Any other questions from the floor? Yep.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and councillors. I'm also speaking as a local resident and business owner. I'd just like to build on the previous questions around the future of the Ashley site.
Oh, sorry, Karen, for the purpose of recording, can you state your name, please?
Karen Booth, your name. So I'd just like to build on the previous questions around the future of the Ashley site and how council represents the community interests. So I've got two questions. One, will council commit to providing the community with a clear update on its advocacy to the state government regarding the Ashley site, including any correspondence, positions taken and next steps, so residents can understand how their interests are being represented? And two, how does council intend to engage the Meander Valley community in shaping a preferred vision, future vision for the Ashley site, so that any proposal put forward to the state government genuinely reflects local priorities and values?
Yeah, thanks, Karen, for that one. The first question is, will we consult, will we let ratepayers residents know of communications? Yes, we will, unless there's a legal binding issue that we can't disclose, if it's contracts or whatever, but yes, we will, for the first one. The second one, how will council communicate regarding the site and so forth, and I'll paraphrase your question. We're waiting to see what the state do there. It's actually their land. We can go out and ask questions. I guess I've had this conversation with a few landowners over the years. Council should be out there talking about what can happen to the site. Unless we know what the state intends to do, we are potentially wasting some money in going down that path. I say some money doing community consultation when we don't know what the state's end goal is.
Just bring your attention to strategic, do they call them strategic points, 5.5, where council actually advocates on behalf of the community.
Yep, absolutely happy to do that.
Keep that in mind too.
Yep.
Council's can do a lot.
Yep, no, thank you for your questions. Any other questions from the floor? That is no. So for the questions that you've asked today, I'll just ask that you let Anthea know, or have them in writing, or email them through, because we need to record them in our minutes. So I'm looking at Mr. Isles up the back. Thank you. That'll bring question time to a close. Thank you. So we had public questions with notice, which was on page 10.1, which were received and included in the agenda. I skipped over that one, my apologies. Moving on to councillor question time. Councillor questions with notice. Councillor questions with notice from last meeting are included in the agenda. Councillor questions without notice. Are there questions without notice from councillors? Councillor Temple.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Just wait, John. Let people leave. Thank you.
The first one is a question that a ratepayer asked me to bring up. They would have been here in person, but they couldn't make it at this time. Concerns FOGO, and the question is, when council declared that 70% of respondents were in favour of the FOGO bin program, did council take into account the markedly different household density of urban streetscape areas in comparison to surrounding acreage areas? And if not, how can your 70% number not be skewed in favour of the wishes of smaller urban dwellers?
Chair,
So, councillor,
no problem.
yes. No, we didn't. So we surveyed the property owners for the catchment involved. We didn't differentiate that based on the size of their lot, the zoning of their land. So it was the number of people surveyed, and then the percentage that you mentioned, 70.4% of the respondents, so the people that came back, number of property owners that came back for that survey in favour of it, as was considered by council at our last council meeting when they formed the decision to roll out FOGO to the Westbury and Glen Exton areas.
Follow-up question, councillor?
Well, another question, if I may, and it's a follow-up to 11.1, which was regarding parallel parking. I was driving through Deloraine recently, and where the parallel parking is, there were only 2 large vehicles that were within their limits. The remainder were, which was substantially larger number, were taking up 2 spots. You know, once upon a time, people were, I don't know if they took it more seriously, but were careful to turn around and look once they had left their vehicle, and if they had gone over where they perhaps shouldn't, they would hop back in the vehicle and make an adjustment. I'm wondering what we can do to encourage people to be more careful so that we can maximise the parking opportunities.
Thanks, councillor. My discussion with business owners up the main street of Deloraine, when they have people parking loading zones and so forth, is that it is a police issue. We as council haven't got bylaws to do any enforcement. Obviously, we can put signs up and ask them to move along, but I would encourage business owners that are in Deloraine having issues to let the police know. Thank you. Any other questions, councillors? Councillor Sindel.
Chair. My question goes to a recent announcement from the federal government that they were going to change the disaster funding, etc. arrangements. Do we, probably a question on notice, do we have any information yet as to what that looks like and what the ramifications might be for a council such as us that has relied on significant such funding in the last decade or so due to natural disasters? They said it would be simpler. I wasn't 100% convinced about that, so I was wondering if we had any information now or in a few weeks' time, next meeting or something.
Yeah, we'll have to take that one on notice, councillor Sinfield. We have no information at the moment.
Yep.
Anything else, councillors? Questions? Okay, moving on. Thank you, councillors, for questions. We move on page 12. Council notice of motions. Councillor Dudman, Land Valley Council's commitment to Westbury. Somebody like to move? Councillor Dudman, thank you. Second up. Councillor Loader, thank you. My microphone is going backwards and forwards. There you are. Councillor Loader, Councillor Dudman has moved the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council welcomes with enthusiasm to the chamber students at Westbury Primary School who have shown a keen interest in civics education and democracy through local government. Notes that many students at Westbury Primary School have raised issues with great passion about the BMX track at the Westbury Sports Centre, including its current state and its potential should it receive future investment, and reaffirms its commitment to plan for a playground renewal and refurbishment of the BMX track in the Westbury Recreation Ground Master Plan project, which will include consultation with the Westbury Primary School students. Mayor, Councillor Loader and I had the great honour of joining students the other week at their class to talk about civics education. This is something that Mr. Eales and his class have been doing for some time now, and the level of engagement from those students was absolutely exceptional. The insightful questions, the ideas that came forward, it was really enjoyable to have a chat to our future leaders about what they see as important in our community and what they'd like to see going forward. And one of those things was, of course, the BMX track, which has recently had some work done to it, namely removing those old tyres, which were presenting a bit of a hazard, but also adding some new gravel, which was meant to provide some better traction and improve use. There is some conjecture with the students as to whether that's the case, but that is something that we can look into. What's really important is that students should understand that if they raise an issue with their elected members, with council, they can have a tangible part in something new, in something greater in their community. And that's what this motion is about. What we are proposing here is that we reaffirm our commitments that we have made and will make in our budget in terms of the 2026-27 Capital Works program, which includes a master plan for the Westbury Sports Centre site and ensures that we are able to use that space, that our children, our young people are able to use that space to its best potential. There hasn't been a lot of change on that BMX track since I was riding around it at 5 years old. I don't know, Councillor Deputy Mayor Cameron, you may have had the same experience. I won't go any further back than that, just in case it wasn't there at that time. But there is a lot of potential there, and students are very excited about what that could mean. It's important that we connect with them and say that this is your area. You should have a say in that. So what I'm asking the council to commit to is not only reaffirm its budgetary outlook, which includes that master plan and then future funding to act upon the master plan to make it the play space we know it can be, but to involve Westbury Primary School students. There are no better people to ask about how we best use this space and have it enjoyed by many than by asking the people that are going to be using it, and that's the students that are in the room with us tonight. So I welcome you along and thank you for joining us. Thank you for raising the issue. And I'm hopeful that councillors will support me in making this commitment, that we can make the BMX track and the play space at the Westbury Sports Centre even greater for our students and young people.
Thank you, Councillor Dudman. Councillor Loader, the second up.
Thank you, Mayor. I am absolutely delighted to speak in support of this motion this evening. When Councillor Dudman and I visited the grade 5-6 class last month, I walked away feeling incredibly proud of the next generation right here in Westbury. We didn't just meet a group of students, we met a group of passionate, switched on young citizens who truly care about the future of our community and our assets. Thank you, Councillor Dudman, for capturing the thoughts, concerns and aspirations of the students in this motion. To see these students take such a keen interest in how local government works and how they can use their own voices to make a difference is fantastic. They didn't hold back either. They were clear, constructive and full of great ideas about the BMX track and playground. They showed us exactly what community pride looks like. I want to also extend a very warm welcome to the students this evening who have joined us in the gallery tonight. Thank you for coming to see local democracy in action. By passing this motion, we aren't just committing to looking after a bike track and a playground. We are showing these young people that their voices matter, that we are listening and that they are a vital part of the Meander Valley community. I look forward to working more with them and I 100% support this motion. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Loader. Open up for discussion, councillors. Any questions? Comments, Councillor Cameron?
Well done, kids, for coming along. You're really brave, Charlotte, for getting up and speaking. So well done. I mean, I get really, really nervous, so I can only imagine how you feel. So well done. You should be really proud of yourself. I just want to thank you all and thank Councillor Dudman for bringing this motion forward, because I remember quite a while ago we did a little playground upgrade at the Village Green, and a student that may be in your class, I don't think she's here today, she actually wrote to the Mayor and I and she said, I don't like your playground much. And we promised that we would work with her when we did the next one, which is a little while off, but we are getting there, as Councillor Dudman said. So well done for coming along, and thank you for staying out at 5:30 to listen to us. And yeah, really keen to work with you all into the future.
Thanks, Councillor. Open up for any discussion, councillors. That's Cynthia.
Thank you for coming along. I assume, or perhaps the General Manager could give us a bit of information on last month we approved a precinct plan to conduct a precinct plan for this very area. We have at both Deloraine and at Big Vale Park actually undertaken community engagement by way of having barbecues, etc. inviting the public along to actually give us their individual ideas of what particular features they would like in terms of the refurbishment of parks. So could we get a bit more flesh on that idea, please?
Sure, happy to elaborate on that, councillor. So last month, our council approved a project for the next financial year of $60,000 to develop a master plan for the Westbury Recreation Ground and Westbury Sports Centre area. So what we see occurring there is that we will map out what elements within that property would be replaced and when they will be replaced, and get feedback from community members about what they would like to see there as well. And then what we will do is, from that feedback, develop a draft master plan, and then we'll put it out to see if it's in line with what people would expect for Westbury, given that's our main recreational area for the town. So that's what we're planning to do. Hopefully it achieves a lot of what the school children are telling us that they would like to see as well.
Thanks, Chairman. Any other comments, questions, councillors? Councillor Tebble.
Thank you, Mayor. And I too thank you all for coming this evening. My question relates to the third point of the motion, and I do support the motion, but I'm wondering if we could give any thought to other groups or people that may be future users that should be consulted. I don't know if we can identify other groups or at least find a mechanism that we can do that.
Thanks, councillor. I'm sure when this goes out for public consultation, it will be open to all groups that are out there, so they will have their chance. Obviously, the primary school have got their foot in the door, so to speak, that they're on the front foot, but it will be advertised and there will be a chance for all the community to have an input into it. Any other discussion, councillors? If not, councillor Loader as the second motion. Councillor Dudman, anything to add?
No, just to thank my fellow councillors for what appears to be support for the motion. Thank you again to the students for coming tonight and for putting this forward. I look forward to working with you on this into the future. Thank you to Mr. Eales for getting up his evening. And as well, thank you to the parents who came in. I'm sure you're all willing participants in this and you weren't forced along by your children. So thank you as well for allowing your kids to experience civic education and what local government is.
Thanks, councillor Dudman. I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Raise your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you. Motion is passed. Good. Anybody that wants to leave may feel free to do so before we continue on with the meeting. If not, I'll move along. 13.1 is the character structure plan, character study. Somebody like to move, somebody like a second. Thank you, councillor House. Thank you. Councillor Cameron is the seconder. Councillor House.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I would like to support this. Carrick is a very special place, and even out in our foyer, there are brochures to attest to that. The Historical Homes of Carrick, it gives quite a bit of information about its origins, going back to 1818, 1819, 1820, thereabouts. And I think that this proposed structure plan should give a lot of comfort and a sense of optimism to the residents of Carrick. The structure plan, and here it is here, the structure plan, well, first of all, could I thank Thomas on all his work. We spoke about it before. It's a power of work gone into this, and I'm sure you've had other people in support, but everything I see Thomas does is methodical and measured and very sympathetic to people's views, so well done. The structure plan speaks of a shared vision that acknowledges the character, and that's undoubted, and history of the village, and also supports modest growth in line with what the infrastructure can support. And that will be an ongoing journey to make sure the infrastructure is able to support that growth. I think the structure plan as proposed is both sensible and sensitive to the views of people that live there and those that will live there in the future. it's a balance of modest development and also protecting and preserving the history of the village, and that's really important because they are special places like Carrick. So I think this document provides that, and I'm in full support of everything that's in there. And thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, councillor House. So Cameron as a seconder.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with a lot of the things you said, councillor House. And so, Carrick is quite special, and I think, you know, we've been really reminded of that in the last 18 months or so as we've been working through this project. And thank you, Thomas. You do know how much I love character studies. I get pretty excited over them, and I do really appreciate the work that's gone into this, and appreciate the community that have participated in it because it is so important. But I do think, you know, this document, it is pretty special because it highlights all the things that we all love about Carrick and obviously what the community loves about Carrick, but it also talks about making sure that growth is sustainable and that we do improvements to public spaces and roads, and talks about infrastructure as well. So it's not a binding document. It is a character study and a plan, but I do think that the amount of work that you put into it, Thomas, is really reflective, and I'm really happy to support it. And I think it is a great step forward to be able to help make sure that we do celebrate Carrick for all of the things that we obviously know about it.
So Cameron, open up for discussion, councillors.
Thanks, Mayor, and I'd too like to thank Thomas and the other staff that have worked on this. It's been a great deal of work. I don't think we can really explain or put into words the amount of planning that's gone into this, the hours of work, the consultation with the community, negotiating different ideas that have been put forward. It's an immense step forward in making sure that we appreciate and protect Carrick as it is, for what it is. And so I think it is a positive step. There will always be debate within the community. I don't think anyone comes out of a character study or a structure plan 100% happy, because when you have hundreds of people with a direct investment in what comes out of this, there's no way to get to 100% support. However, I think the vast majority of residents in Carrick would be happy with this and should be proud of it too, proud of something that they have created to better the place that they live. Carrick is an important suburb town in our municipality, and this goes a long way in making sure that it stays its iconic self. So I am more than happy to support it.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Loader.
Yes, I echo all the statements that have already been made. I think that planning in Tasmania should never be one size fits all, and it certainly feels at times that is what the state government is trying to do to us. These documents go a long way to ensure that it won't be one size fits all for Carrick. It ensures that there is a minimum lot size, and I also want to acknowledge that these are community-led documents. There's been so many opportunities for people to have input, both by the 2 drop-in sessions that were held in the hall, and also all the opportunities people have had to make written representations. So that is something that I, as a councillor, am really, really proud of. And I too thank you, Thomas, and all the staff, and I'm 100% behind these documents. One thing I do want to acknowledge is that many people in Carrick are very worried about the water pressure, and 1 + 1 = 2 mostly, and sometimes more houses come, the water pressure goes down. So it's important that people in Carrick actually contact TasWater as well as the council and are really front foot on that, and don't just wait for TasWater to upgrade it. They need to let TasWater know that there's an issue with water pressure now. But that's an aside, but it has been raised during this consultation process. But I 100% support these documents. Thanks, Thomas, and thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Councillor Loader. Any other discussion, councillors? Look, I'll just echo before you go, John, what councillors have said before. Thomas, well done. Goes without saying that you do a marvellous job, mate. you know, that we appreciate what you do. I just want to just put out there, so in the document it says in 2021, the council received inquiries and a petition about the types of development allowed in Carrick under the Tasmanian Planning Scheme. In response, the council undertook a survey to seek feedback about development in Carrick. The survey highlighted there was a mixed views about development in Carrick. That heritage preservation is important and a balanced approach to development is preferred. Respondents also placed high importance on adequate footpaths, roads and stormwater management. And this is where we're at now. The structure plan is where we're at now. So as Councillor Loader said, people have had a chance to put in, and it's not going to please everyone, but this is probably as good as it's ever going to get. So happy to support it going forward. Councillor Temple, you were.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I've got a comment and a question. The comment is about those places that are heritage listed. There are a lot more places that are 19th century that, and some would, in my opinion, weigh in heavier than some of those that are listed. So I don't know if we need to, as part of this, get the Heritage Council to do a proper survey of Carrick, and I don't know how far out of Carrick. I know Silwood's there, so that's a couple of kilometres outside the town, but looking in around there, I can think of quite a few others that are not listed. I personally like to see them there. I think they're important to the stock of those properties. And the question is, so the public understands how this works. From the second that this is adopted, what changes?
Thomas.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. To the first point about additional properties that may warrant heritage protections, I suppose there has been a body of work done in the past in the mid-2000s that did consider local heritage. I suppose if councillors were interested in progressing, further investigation of that, that might be a future consideration. But I suppose the emphasis of the structure plan and the character study is certainly more focused on the character of the town, which provides, I suppose, a broader capture of what is special about Carrick. The second question about what changes, there are, I suppose, the structure plan and the character study together provide a blueprint and a framework for next actions for council. One of those actions is going to be the preparation of a planning scheme amendment to implement the recommendations of the character study. Other aspects to that also include, now that assuming it is adopted, there are very clear locations identified for preferred growth that supports the ability for landowners to look at rezoning those as needed. And I suppose it also outlines some of the key infrastructure priorities that council will be looking to invest to over the future. So it is a document, I suppose, that provides ongoing guidance to how council operates and invests in Carrick, as well as advocates to Taswater and other state agencies, particularly around the sewer treatment plant and its capacity.
Thanks, Thomas. Councillor, follow-up question, Councillor.
Just a follow-up question. Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So therefore, within the motion, should we state what the next step is?
Thomas?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. The Carrick structure plan itself identifies a list of implementation actions at the end of the document. It identifies actions based off of low, high, medium priority. The plan scheme amendment to implement the character study is identified as a high priority. I understand that the annual plan for next year also identifies the implementation of a specific area plan as a key priority as well. So I suppose the high priority action is already in many ways in tow. So I would think that can progress without needing an amendment to the item itself.
So you don't feel we need to be explicit?
No, I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Sinfield.
Thank you, Chair. It sort of follows on from Councillor Temple's comment about heritage study. Back as Thomas mentioned, back in the mid-2000s, what got me interested in council matters was in fact the heritage study that council had undertaken by Professor Paul Davies from Sydney, which took 2 years. In my view, the community were in the dark about it until it was announced, but that's a separate matter. But that was what got me involved in council matters and ultimately getting on council. In that study, Professor Davies identified 75 properties for inclusion on the State Heritage Register, which were referred off to the relevant state body. Of those, almost exactly half were put on the list, the rest were rejected, so that was municipal wide. And so I would suspect that whilst there might still be properties in the municipality that ought to be on the list that aren't, that work was done, and it has informed where we're at. The state government quite some years ago, but in the intervening 20-year period, actually proposed removing about a third of the list. And not surprisingly, if they had established criteria for why you'd be on the list, almost no property was found that was suitable for removal, which is a logical conclusion. The thing that got many people in the community upset was the fact that 550 properties were identified to go on a local listing, and the community arced up about that because the same criteria that would have got you on the state list were proposed to put you on the B grade list, but the bar was lowered, and a lot of people weren't happy that there was, if you're using the same criteria, then either you are or you aren't eligible to be on that list. So the point I'm coming to into the modern times, though, is that we've now been left with a legacy where this community has always had an aversion to things involving heritage listings and heritage precincts, such that we've, to some extent, run shy of including a tree register, etc., that forms part of our planning scheme but is blank. And we really do need to revisit that. And more of these character studies, etc., that are done, then there will be an impetus for council to actually include heritage by way of precincts and trees, etc., in our planning scheme, because I think it would adequately address some of the issues that Councillor Temple, for example, has enunciated.
Thanks, councillor Sinfield. Any other discussion, councillors? If not, councillor Cameron, second on the motion.
Thank you. Yes, I had highlighted a few things actually on page 49, which I think probably go to the question you asked, Councillor Temple, which was an important one, but it's about what's next. And the bit that I've highlighted, it said there are no specific requirements for landowners to maintain the village character of Carrick. However, the community are clearly passionate about the character of the town. To protect and celebrate this character, the character study recommends that the following key actions be undertaken. And then that just goes on to list, develop the specific area plan, construct town entry gateway treatments, the tree register, and some fencing design guidelines, along with some other things. So I think that was an important question, and it is answered sort of in the body of the document. So if there's anyone with concerns about what's next, that's sort of really where it lays it out. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cameron. Councillor House has moved the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I think everything that needs to be said has been said. Again, I would just like to thank all those people who provided feedback. That's helped inform and influence the structure plan, and community passion is a very important thing. So I think that's I think it's very important that everyone has been able to contribute. So thank you to them as well.
Thanks, Councillor House. I put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you. Moving on, corporate services, 40.1, page 173. Somebody like to move, somebody like a second. Mr. Dutton, thank you. Councillor Cameron, was that a second?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the move of the motion. That's the move of the motion, Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the staff for putting this work together. It is always a fun time of the year dealing with the budgets, the rates, resolutions and everything that comes with it. But I think the budget that we are putting forward tonight is a reasonable and rational one. It obviously has an underlying deficit for this financial year, but it is important to note that there are several one-off capital projects that we are, I guess, partaking in this year that has led to that. And as we saw last year, and I believe the year before that, our projected deficits turned into a surplus. And so there is every good chance we might be able to project that or something close to it this year as well. But overall, I think what this budget shows is a strong financial position from council, but one that's also reasonable. It's sort of hard. I know the next item is rates resolutions, but it's also mentioned here. So I think it's important to note as part of this that the overall rates increase for this year is less than 1% above CPI. I think that is an impressive outcome. I think for most in the community, any increase, especially at this time where there are financial pressures, is hard to deal with. But the fact is, when we have an expanding amount of services that we're expected to deliver and more things happening with capital projects and whatnot, to be able to deliver a rates increase that is less than 1% above CPI is something that is important. It's important that we did try to achieve this for our community, and I'm very thankful that we did. So this budget, in my view, is one that is appropriate for the times, but also ensures that we don't steal from tomorrow in order to pay for today. So I'm more than happy to commend the budget.
Councillor Dudman, Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. Look, I've written so many different notes, and I really don't know how I'm going to be able to express myself properly on this, because it is a bit sort of higgledy-piggledy, as I said in the pre-meeting, but in my mind, that is, sorry. But I do support the 4.9% rate increase, and I know that we've gone to a lot of effort to try and keep it as low as we possibly can. And we also are delivering a pretty epic capital works project. There are a couple of factors to take in that I may have questions from throughout the debate, just so that I can get some clarity around it for others listening in. But something that we don't have control over is what the Office of the Valuer General have valued the properties at. And there has been a recent revaluation. So that is something that council doesn't have control over. That does have a huge impact on what that figure will be in your rates notice. The other thing that I want to be mindful of is that we are investing majorly, in our IT system, and that's really important because kids, that was from 1990, which was before you were born. Yeah, so that's a really old computer system. So we need.
I didn't go that far.
Oh, you're pretty old. You're old compared to everyone else in the chamber, in the gallery. But it's a massive investment, and one that I'm actually really proud that we are doing. But it is Yeah, it all costs money. Look, there are lots of things I think other councillors are going to say because I've highlighted all these random things and I'm not making sense. So I'll let other people talk and then I might have something more sensible to say shortly.
Thanks, Councillor.
Might
Open up for discussion, councillors.
Oh.
Councillor Lato.
Thank you, Mayor. On page 173 and flowing over to 174 are the key points. And I think for those of us who don't have the accounting gene, these key points make it very easy to understand exactly what we're delivering, like $17.96 million in capital works. So that's your footpaths and all those things. Could possibly include a movie night, you never know, in the future. But it really does, for me, it was this particular table that put it all very succinctly in layman's terms and helped me to understand. So if you're following on at home, page 173, page 174, I've got those key points. And I too want to highlight the fact that we're doing the major upgrade of the information technology. 1990, that's a long time ago, and it's way past due. And this is one area that I think we, as this term of council, can be very proud that we have been able to make a very hard decision and spend the money because it's good for today, but it's even better for the future. So I'm supporting this, but yes, look at page 173. Makes it easy to understand.
Well said, Councillor Lato. Any other discussion, councillors? From my point, thanks to Craig and the team for putting this together. It's always hard to do budgets, but just that. They're not actuals, they're budgets, what they're forecast. At times they're guessing. I'm not sure they're really good guesses. So, but it is good, as has been said, a general rate increase of 4.9%. And neighbouring councils and councils across the state will go somewhere between 5 and 7% increase in their rates. And as was touched on, we have had a revaluation from the Officer General this year, so a major revaluation that when people open their rates bill will be probably surprised, but that is revalued by the state, the Officer General. So, any other comments, discussions, councillors? If not, Councillor Cameron has anything further to add?
I was just thinking maybe just for that purpose, maybe Craig might be able to just put a bit of an explanation around how that revaluation, just a little bit of an explanation around when it was done. And then of course there's a few sentences down that talk about the difference between residential rates and primary production. And I was just wondering maybe they might be able to clarify that just for the purpose of those listening in.
You might be one item ahead of yourself.
Oh, but I've highlighted it this item. I've highlighted it. It's there.
You might be ahead of yourself.
Well,
Thank you. So yeah, I think the key point is that the 4.9% is the 4.9% is the total increase in our rates across the year. So the distribution of that amongst ratepayers in the municipality will differ based on the property values. So property values are revalued every 6 years, and this is the 6th year. So we're about to implement new property values. So in the intervening periods between those 6 years, we get adjustment factors from the Office of the Valuer General, which give a guide to where property values are moving. The most recent valuation that we have has seen the property values for residential, commercial and industrial properties continue to increase since the last adjustment factors, and the property values for primary production have decreased since the last adjustment factors. So that creates a bit of a challenge for us in setting rates when we have property values that are moving across different property classes. So whilst the total increase is 4.9%, there will be increases that are higher than that for some property holders in the residential, commercial, industrial. But for primary production, many of the ratepayers in that sector, depending on their individual property values, may see their rates increase less than 4.9 or even decrease.
Yeah, thank you.
General Manager.
Thanks. Look, I think it's worth noting that council is required to rate a property based on the valuation provided by the Office of the Valley General, as the Mayor said. Every property owner in Meander Valley will receive a notice of revaluation from the OVG in the next month. So if people have questions, are uncertain or would like to dispute the value that's provided to them, they need to raise those with the OVG. So whilst we're using that valuation to see what people's rates are going to be for next year, what that value is quite separate from council. So we just need to make sure the people are aware of that and that they follow the proper process with the OVG around the value of their property when they receive those notices in the mail.
Thanks, Chairman. That's all.
Yeah.
Councillor Dudman, anything to add? Excuse me. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you. Somebody like to leave the gallery? You may if you want to. Thanks for coming along, students.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
hey.
Thanks, of course.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thanks, parents.
Thank
Parents. Oh, they cleaned them out.
Go Lacey.
Righto, moving on to page 240. Rates resolution. Somebody like to move, somebody like to second, please. Councillor Dudman, thank you. Councillor Cameron, thank you. Councillor Dudman as the mover.
I think I've said everything I need to on rates, so that's fine. Happy to take it as read, noting my comments from the previous item.
Yep, thank you. Councillor Cameron.
Same, but the only other thing I wanted to highlight was the waste management charge, another charge that is really out of council's control. That's the waste management levy is set by the state government, and there is a pretty significant increase there. But I just want to, I guess raise that is also out of council's control.
Thanks, Councillor Cameron. Open up for discussion, councillors. Questions, answers, comments? Take that as Councillor Sinfield. Oh, he only just got in, councillor.
It's probably really just a comment is that whilst I suspect there aren't any comments or questions, the point to make for anyone watching or listening now in the future is the fact that this has, we haven't spent 5 minutes on it. There's been a lot of work put in by staff and also a lot of discussion at workshops and things and building upon information base over the year and previous years to arrive at the position of both the previous motion and this one and the one to come. I think it's worth making that point that a lot of collective knowledge and input goes into getting to this point. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Sinfield. Well said, actually, because if we were to pass the motion without much discussion, people go, oh, that's pretty simple. But thanks to Craig and the team. There has been a lot of work. There's certainly been 3 workshop items over the last 3 months where we've talked about it to where we have arrived at today. Obviously, in the previous item, we talked about the value of general and the changes. I think all of us sitting around the table are ratepayers. I think that's something that the general public should realise. We sit here as ratepayers making decisions for our residents and our ratepayers. They're usually the same, but sometimes they're not. And we pay rates, so therefore whatever decision we make here affects ourselves as well. But we try and make a fair and just decision for all of the municipalities. So. Any other discussion, councillors? If not, I'll go to Councillor Cameron and
I want to hear my voice, I'm sure, but I'm just thinking that maybe it's going to be good for Craig to explain what he explained to us earlier around the primary production, because our policy asks us to try and work towards all having one rate in the dollar, or single rate in the dollar. And I know we're only talking averages and everyone's circumstance is different, but there is one property land classified as primary production, which is different, and there is a very good reason for that. And I'm just wondering if you could give an explanation on how we came to that method.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the comment was made earlier around trying to make decisions that are equitable and I guess strategic across a period of time. When we addressed adjustment factors 2 years ago, and at that point in time, there had again was some disparity in the growth in different property classes, and we made the decision to stage over a couple of years of transition so that individual property classes, whether they be primary production, residential, commercial, etc., aren't impacted heavily in one particular year. So we're trying to transition and smooth, I guess. And we've opted in this recommendation to make a similar move this year, so that whilst residential, industrial, commercial property values have increased, we're looking to transition those over a two-year or longer period. And that's the reason that we have different rates in the dollar for primary production and for the other property classes.
Thank you.
Anything further, councillor? Councillor Dudley, don't put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye and raise your hand. That is unanimous again. Thank you, councillors. Page 244, financial management strategy review. Somebody like to move, somebody like to second. Councillor House, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Dudley, thank you. Councillor House.
Thank you, Mayor. A lot of these agenda items are kind of aligned, really. They all come down to financial management, as far as I can see. And this is a longer term 4-year review. But I think what it does, again, thank you to all those involved in putting this together. I think what it does is it ensures that the Meander Valley Council, which we're all shareholders in one way or another, Mayor, as you said, retains financial capacity into the future. And with my time on council, close on 4 years now, I've really been impressed by the solid fiscal management that this council has. Yes, we talk about it in the workshop, and yes, we have lots of discussions, but behind the scenes, enormous amount of work goes into that financial planning, that financial management. I know it's on page, what page is it? Through 248, I think it says. I think this outlines it well. The strategy defines the financial boundaries within which council can sustainably operate, and it is all about sustainability. And it identifies what council can afford and the risks it must manage, and they keep on changing to maintain the services and the infrastructure over the long term. I think we have very good. I think we're very lucky to have Meander Valley Council operate as it does. We have excellent infrastructure. There's always room for improvement, but I think overall we have excellent infrastructure. We have good financial management, and we are, I think, doing better than most councils around the state in that regard. So I think it's a very good document. I think it reflects very sound decision making by all involved. So I'm in full support of it.
Thanks, Councillor House. Councillor Dublin, a second. Any doubt? No, thank you. Open up for discussion, councillors. Take that as no. Anything further to add, Councillor Dublin or House? Report with the motion. Right, put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye and raise your hand. That is unanimous again. Thank you. Page 268, annual review of fees and charges. Somebody like to move, somebody like to second. Councillor Dudley, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Cameron. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. That's okay. I was waiting patiently, but I'll take the nod. Thank you. Happy to support the increases. I think it's important to note, along with all of this, that increases do occur largely, as you can see in the meeting papers. It is either an increase in line with CPI or benchmarked across, I believe, neighbouring councils to ensure that we are charging what is a fair and reasonable price and what you'd expect from a local government entity in northern Tasmania. The Deputy Mayor did raise it before, but I would like to point out as well the waste facilities and the levies involved there. We are dealing with that a bit differently in that we don't impose the waste levy, we receive the waste levy. The waste levy is scheduled to increase by 50% from the 1st of July 2026, from $46 per tonne to $67 per tonne. I think we had a similar increase last year. I think that's an issue that is greatly impacting our community and the Tasmanian community more broadly, and that is something that the state government really needs to address in the way that it is dealing with waste. Because if we're trying to reduce waste, I think at this point we have to accept that you need to do more than just tax the hell out of it and hope people stop producing waste on that basis. That is not rational, it is not fair, and it is not a proper way forward if we're to create a sustainable waste management system on a state level. Other than that, as I said, I think the increases we have tried to keep reasonable, and I think they are. And on that basis, I'm more than happy to commend the motion.
Thanks, Councillor Dudman. Councillor Cameron as the second on the motion.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with you, Councillor Dudman. It is a huge increase really, and that is going to have quite an impact on our community, and I think it will also have an impact on how people manage their waste, but you're completely right in what you're saying. Really happy to support this and the work that's gone through as the benchmarking exercise to review it. I think our facilities are the best, the most well looked after and very well utilised. A lot of that's because of the work that that our team put into that. So just want to say thank you for everything that's gone, all of the work that's gone into this, and really happy to support it.
Thank you. Open up for discussion, councillors, if any. No, again, there's been a lot of work gone into this. It's come before workshop a few times. We've talked about the fees and charges that will apply to everybody within the municipality. And we've looked at the fees and charges from our neighbouring municipalities and look at where we sit. And this is what we've come up with to be very reasonable. So, any other comments, councillors? If not, Councillor Cameron, any doubt?
No.
Councillor Dudman, put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Raise your hand. Thank you. Term report, page 286, which is governance, community wellbeing. Somebody like to move, so it's Councillor Loader. Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Dudman. Just got his hand up for Councillor House. Councillor Loader, all yours.
Thank you, Mayor. I think this is a really fabulous document and it outlines many of those really fantastic highlights of the last 4 years. I guess I'm a little biased because I'm really happy to see the wonderful photo of the Mayor and Councillor House with the rainbow flag. It was a privilege to bring that.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say another photo. I think that wasn't what flattering, but
it was a privilege to bring that motion, and I want to me, it really says that times move forward. And I believe that our council is becoming a more inclusive kind of council. And that's something that I will leave this term with feeling incredibly proud of. And the fact that it came from the community that I was able to do that. This is a great document. Like I really enjoyed reading it for me, but also I would commend it to the community, and I would also commend it to any future candidates, because it shows what you can do if you get a seat at the table and you're prepared to compromise, collaborate and work together with other people, because we certainly don't always agree. Unless it's not just one person doing stuff, we've all got to work together. But the other thing I want to say is that the achievements listed in this document are not just about the elected members. There's so much more about the hardworking staff of council. And kudos to every single one of them, because I often hear we don't get much more rates. Well, we drive on safe roads, we walk on many wonderful new or renewed footpaths, we visit wonderful green spaces, and when we ring up the council or send an email, somebody answers us and directs our inquiry. So kudos to the staff. The last 4 years, I think we can all hold our heads up high, but please read documents, especially if you've got aspirations to have a seat at this table after the October election.
Thanks, councillor Loder. Well said. Councillor Dudman.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Loder. I think it's a good point. Coming on as a councillor, you can't change the world, but you can certainly help change and shape our community. And I see that in this document, in what we've achieved. As Councillor Loder said, we don't always agree on everything, and sometimes we have some wonderful and colourful arguments. But that is democracy, and that is how it's meant to be. The important thing is that after a debate, we are able to come together, work together on what is a shared vision for the future of our community. There are so many good projects that have occurred over the past 4 years and are included in this document. Some of my favourites, as Councillor Loder said, was flying the flag to promote equality and respect for Ida Hobbit Day, the Westbury that's highway entry signs, changing them over. It was one of the first things I think Councillor Temple, myself and Councillor Loder were on a bit of a subcommittee doing that back in 2022. As well as taking over ownerships of the visitor information base at Deloraine, which was something that we found through the tourism operators and businesses and through the what was then the Great Western Tiers Tourism Association, was an important thing that our community was passionate about. And probably one of my proudest achievements was, of course, the council hosting an economic development forum, which allowed government, industry, property owners, stakeholders of our community to get together, plan and have a say about the future of our community and its economy. We've also been a council that have had to deal with some big decisions. We started the term talking about a prison. It appears we might end the term talking about a prison. We made some hard decisions when it came to waste management and what we could reasonably achieve for the future of our community in that area, as well as we saw today, strategic planning for Carrick, with Blackstone Heights, Prospect Vale, Hadsford, and there will be further plans in the future in the new iteration of council, I have no doubt. So overall, I think this document shows that in 4 short years, we have worked well together, we have got a bit done, but of course there is still more work to do. So I'm looking forward to joining some of you next term, and I commend the work that we've done so far, and thank you to the staff as well. I think not enough credit goes to them. We look good providing this document, but the fact is they do a lot of work behind the scenes too. So thank you.
Thanks, councillor Dudman. Well said. Open up for discussion, councillors. Councillor House.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, look, I think it does show that there's been a lot achieved in the last 4-year period or close on, and there will always be more work to do. And some of the things we would perhaps have liked to have done for people we haven't been able to through, just financial prudence, I suppose. But Mayor, you might remember when I first thought of coming on the council, I asked you what the greatest challenge was likely to be. And I think you said it was waste management. And you were true to your word because it proved to be the case, I think. Waste management is one of the greatest challenges for every community, not just ours. And we had to make some really tough decisions. And I'm pleased that I'm proud we did that. And again, there was a lot of debate around the table. We didn't always agree on it. On everything, but we took the view that something had to be done, and we were pretty proactive in that. So I'm particularly proud of our council, or this iteration of council, for doing that.
Thanks, councillor House. Councillor Temple.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What's going to happen to this document? Is it going to be published, or is it going on a website, or is it going to gather dust? What's its future?
Well, thanks, councillor. I guess it already has been published. It's been in our agenda today. People that are interested in the community will have seen it. And I guess we hope that many more do, because I think anybody reading the term report will see that a lot has been achieved in the last 4 years. And I think Councillor Loder or one of the councillors in the debate sort of said, hopefully it stimulates interest within the community, and if it if it inspires one person to be more interested and they become a councillor in the future or the next term or the one after or something like that, I think that's a great success.
Thanks, Chairman. I just also add, Councillor Temple, that I think we forget what we've done in 4 years. And I think this is a document that is there. I mean, I look at someone now opening a Doran Pocket Park and others, Swash Courts, Footbridge, you know, if somebody said, well, what have you, and I have had the question, what have you achieved? I'm going, oh, yeah, okay, we did this, but I could not reel them off the same as this does. And to Councillor Loder's point, it is a good document for future people, candidates or future councillors to look at to see what can be achieved. To Councillor House's point, we have achieved a lot. We really have in the 4 years that we've been sitting around here. You always think when you take a position on that you leave it better than when you took it on. And I think I can have hand on heart and say that in my case that will be, and I think you all as councillors will say the same. We talk about the staff a lot and we've congratulated those that sit at that end of the table. I want to actually congratulate John on his leadership for the last 3.5 years. I've got to check my maths about that because John is the one that makes the decisions when we put them to him, and he will argue for or against those decisions depending on whether they are right or wrong, I guess. But I want to say thank you, John, for your time and your services, because it's not an easy role. It's the hardest role in local government, I think, to be the general manager. You can get, what's the word? You can be moved along by a group of councillors that don't like you that much, or you can stay here at the whim of councillors that do like you that much. So I guess it's, you know, but we do appreciate the work you do. So, anything else? Anyone else? Councillor Henry.
Thank you. Yes, I think, well, I just really to agree with what everybody else has been saying. I do think, in general, as a group of councillors, we've all worked pretty well together, and I think, you know, we are really different, and that's a really good thing. But there is probably one thing that brings us all together, and that's, you know, sort of our really big love and respect for the Meander Valley. And I think we've had a really good leader. You're right, Wayne. John's been excellent GM, but we've been really lucky to have you and all of the experience that you've brought with you, Wayne. I don't know if
It's not the last council meeting.
I don't know if I planned this, but I think Wayne's been an excellent mayor, and I just want to make sure that he knows that. But I also want to acknowledge the past councillors that have all contributed. Councillor White, Councillor Mick Kelly, who was here for a really long time, had so much knowledge and was a very funny person, and we will forever miss his council jokes. So if he ever wants to give us some tips, that'd be great. But also, you're all shaking your head, Lockie Dornoff, Barry Lee, they all contributed to this term of council. And yeah, look, with document, you could, there's so many things I think that we do at council. When you're right, people ask you what you've achieved, and it's the little things, and you know, I always talk about toilets and things like that, but it is the little things that make the difference to our community. And I'm really proud of it and proud of the way we've worked together. And again, also just to reiterate what others have said about thanking the staff, because we do come up with these bright ideas and then you guys have to work like mad to make it happen. So thank you. And yes, Councillor Loder, you're right. I hope this inspires others to want to come along and join us. We are a really happy, lovely bunch of people, aren't we?
It's all good. Anybody else? Anything to discuss? If not, anything to add, Councillor Dudden? Councillor Loder and Dad?
Yes, just one more point. I was also going to acknowledge the other councillors who were around this table during this term, but Councillor Cameron already has. One thing I am really proud of is the way that we have engaged the community throughout this term. There's been so many opportunities for people to have their say. And if anyone says they didn't get their say, I would challenge them. You need to reply to that survey, answer that letter, have you, like the Westbury Primary School children today, come to a meeting. It is open for our community to come and help drive what they want.
I said on that, put the motion, all those in favour, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you. Over the page for me, annual plan, page 268. Someone like to move? What?
Oh, three.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
3:68. Oh.
3:14.
I can only read what's on the paper, John. Cross it off. So, glad somebody's on board, that's good. Somebody like to move, somebody like to second it.
Did you just have a hand up?
Oh, sure.
Oh, I thought he did. Sorry.
Councillor Simple had his hand up, but I don't know what he's looking.
You know, I thought councillor Temple
No, I
was
was,
raising
I
a point.
was in the wrong place.
Second, councillor Dudman move. Second, please.
Oh, okay.
Councillor Cameron, thank you.
I don't, we need to dwell on this too long, except to say that overall it is very clear that we are adhering to the commitments we provide to our community and to our strategic visions and plans. So I'm more than happy to support this document. I think it is very clear on page 319, the question of what do you get for the rates you pay. You get support in ensuring that the 21,579 residents get the services they deserve. There are 822 kilometres of road networks that are supported. There's 7 biking skate parks, 8 sporting grounds, 59 parks and reserves. There's a lot of ground to cover, a lot of infrastructure to support. And I think for a small council, we do a great deal of work to achieve that. So more than happy to commend the plan.
Thank you. Councillor Cameron, is the second?
Yes, exactly what councillor Dudman said, and also page 16 of the document, which is page 331 of ours, delivering quarterly citizenship ceremonies. We held an excellent one this morning, and I think they're fantastic events, and one of my favourite parts of it being on council. So congratulations to all of the new citizens today.
Here. Yes. Here. Okay, open up for discussion, councillors. Nothing, right? I have nothing further. Move and second it. The motion, all those in favour, please say aye. Unanimous again, thank you. Motion to close the meeting. I'd like to move, I'll second.
Excuse me, Mr Mayor, with your indulgence.
Yes.
I'm just concerned with I'm just concerned with the character structure plan that we adopted the plan, but the recommendations within the plan are not part of what we adopted. They're options within the plan. And it doesn't sit well with me that we haven't adopted those recommendations.
I think as we talked about, Councillor Temple, we had workshopped this 3 or 4 times this year potentially, and the document was available for us all to look at. I guess we can take your comments on board, but we did move it. So, gentlemen, something to add?
Yep, just one other thing to add, Mayor, on the item that was just passed by council, the annual plan. Page 339 of your agenda, councillor. You've also approved an annual project for our employees to undertake the development of a character precinct, and the specific area plan scheme amendment application to be submitted to the Tasmanian Planning Commission. So that's another action that's been approved by council in the last item. So they are actions that were discussed in the earlier item, and we now have an action that's been approved by council.
But the actual recommendations we haven't adopted.
I disagree, Councillor.
Okay.
I don't know whether anybody else has anything to say on that, but I disagree. But anyway. We'll move along. Thanks for raising that, Councillor. Moving to close to move the meeting, mostly close the meeting. Somebody like to move, somebody like to second, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Dudman, thank you. I move the motion. All those in favour, please say aye and raise your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you. End live streaming and recording off at 6:26. Thank you. Do we want a break or are we going straight into it? You do? Happy to move straight in?